Listen to two students discussing a zoology course.
Now we can move on to discuss the next part of the chapter, the part on land tortoises.
Yes. Land tortoises are tortoises that don't live in the water, although they may live near the water. They only come to the water to drink or bathe. Oh, look here in the book. Here's a picture of one of the 40 kinds of land tortoises.
Land tortoises are the ones that live to such long ages, aren't they?
Yes. My favorite part of the chapter was the part that was about how long land tortoises can really live.
How old can they live to be?
It's not really known for sure. There are lots of traditional stories about tortoises that lived for hundreds of years. I do remember hearing, when I was young, about tortoises that were supposed to be 1 to 200 years old.
That couldn't be. No way.
Well, there are a lot of stories, but there are no accurate records, so it's impossible to verify whether or not they're true.
Well, how old is the oldest tortoise on record? Do you know?
In the chapter I just read, it said that the oldest tortoise whose age can be verified to some extent is the one known as Marion's tortoise.
I read that Marion's tortoise was 152 years old.
Actually, I think the book said it was at least 152 years old. It was probably older.
So they're not really certain how old Marion's tortoise really was when it died. What is truly known about Marion's tortoise?
It's certain that a French explorer named Dufresne, Marion Dufresne, captured an adult tortoise in 1766, and he transported the tortoise to the island of Mauritius in that same year.
Well, when did Marion's tortoise die? Are there authentic records?
Historians are satisfied with the authenticity of the records that show that Marion's tortoise died in 1918.
How do they know it was the same tortoise? Could it have been a different tortoise that died there in 1918?
Tortoises don't occur naturally on Mauritius, so Marion's tortoise was the only tortoise on the island of Mauritius.
And so this tortoise had been on the island of Mauritius for 152 years when it died.
That's right. Marion's tortoise arrived in Mauritius in 1766 and died in 1918, so that would make it at least 152 years old.
But didn't you say that the tortoise that was captured and brought to Mauritius by Marion Dufresne was an adult when it was captured?
Yes. So Marion's tortoise was known to have lived for 152 years on Mauritius, but because it was an adult when it was captured in 1766, and it's unclear how old it was at that time, it could have been considerably older than 152 years when it died, maybe 180 years or more. 200 years old for this type of tortoise isn't inconceivable.
So a tortoise living to the age of 200 may be possible, but there are no verified records of such a tortoise.
Exactly.